What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Off the Clock. Welcome back to the One Love Media channel, man. I really appreciate you guys for always being with us through this time, man. Look, the Dogs been off for about 3 weeks, but they do play January 1st, so this is going to be a preview show. I got a special guest with me today. This is the guy who is usually behind the camera, but today he's in front of the camera. He actually chimes in all the time and gives us football knowledge. And he also is a producer of the team meeting. Everyone, let's welcome my main man, Dennis on the beat. Dennis is joining us today. Yes, man. Dennis is the man behind the scenes, as you may know. You see him in the comments. He runs all the social medias. He puts together all the beautiful videos you guys love on IG, and he finds a way to continue to get the team meeting upload on YouTube because it is tough. They try to ban us. They try to take our stuff off, but he makes sure it gets on there. So, Dennis, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Dogs playing on Thursday, Thursday. So excited for that. I feel like these playoff periods leading up to these games, it feels like forever. It feels like you start to kind of worry about what's going to happen in the game. Like, are we going to come correct? But sure. I'm starting to feel the energy. I'm starting to feel the juices flowing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
No doubt. We have a jam-packed show today. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into bowl practice. I've been a part of the college football playoffs in 2017, so I kind of know what's going on through these bowl practices. But I think these guys have more time off than we did. We're going to get into the bowl practices. We got a couple clips from practice of the guys getting, down and physical, which I like. Then we're also going to, tap into look ahead of the matchup, right? We got Ole Miss, but is it the same Ole Miss without Lane Kiffin? We're going to jump into that. And, of course, I'm going to give you my keys to victory. So look at this kind of like a pre-show to the team meeting. We're going to jump right into this right now with, as you saw what went viral on social media this week, the Dogs were getting very physical at practice. And let's see what we got right here. One thing I like about here, I know I'm from the team meeting, but I've been a part of these practices. What you're seeing right here is a very physical practice, right? You're seeing guys take game reps, falling to the ground. You could rewind that for me a little bit. When guys fall to the ground in practice, that's usually a no-no. But that's what makes Georgia different. It's game reps. I'm telling you right now, all colleges do not practice like this. Look how physical these guys are. So Coach Smart used to always say you practice hard to make the games easy. These are game reps. Look at them striking, fighting to the ground. That makes the defender's job easier in the game. And that also is the reason why you see us throw people out of the club. It's because they're practicing it. You can't practice physicality. Look at our corners coming from setting the edge. Great job by Ellis Robinson. Why are we doing this? Right? And that's what I mean by I love the preparation. Why are we doing this drill? Because this is what Ole Miss like to run on first downs. Downset hut, quick bubble, throw it out. I love how physical Coach Smart practices are because they translate to the game. You can't practice soft and think when you get into the game that your team is going to be physical. And there are some other clips that we have here because the main
one thing I want to bring up. Listen how Kirby's getting into him, man. I'm sure you witnessed this firsthand, but listen to Coach Smart.
Man, we got guys on the ground.
Yeah, man, he's coaching them hard. That's all I got to say.
No, but you know what he used to say about that? He was trying to make practice as chaotic as possible. So if I'm a player, right, I already got to do the next rep. So I'm doing the next rep. I'm waiting for my turn to do the rep. And then here he go in my ear. He's yelling. He's creating a chaotic environment in my head. But I also got to still focus on the play. And then I got a dude trying to take my head off because practice is very physical. So when you create all these chaotic situations in the head at practice, when you get in the game and it's 90,000, you don't hear this annoying guy in your ear. So he's already created that chaos. You see what I'm saying? And that leads to, the dogs always just stand like this during the game. Like, we came back from all these games this year, but that's because you see practices like that. He, like y'all, you say, I want to create the most chaotic, atmosphere at practice. So when you get in the game, your brain is calm. And I just think that's a beautiful thing that he does. A lot of guys don't practice this right here. This is called attention to detail. You see, when we do the team meet, I always say, look at their hands, they strike. Look at these guys practicing. And shout out to the walk-ons being tackle dummies. That's what they don't get a lot of. Strike, get off. Look at the practice on stripping the ball. Where do you see this play happen? On Auburn. You don't get in the game and just make hypothetical situations. You practice for everything you do in the game. Look at these guys practice on tackling and ripping the ball out. Attention to detail in everything you do is something I learned at Georgia. Good strike. Shout out to the walk-ons, man. Shout out to the walk-ons. Dylan, what do you think about that clip?
I was sitting there thinking about something that you and Bake were talking about a couple episodes back, and you were saying something along the lines of like, he like brainwashes y'all into thinking that every rep is for the national championship. Really like trying to convince yourself to like really lock in for that moment to make sure that that rep is, done correctly. I feel like you're seeing that in the video, like kind of like what y'all are describing. Every rep looks like it's game speed. It looks like live action. And you hear it all the time. Like y'all saying that practices are harder than the games, at Georgia. So, and this is like, seeing it on full display. So, I mean, I think it's pretty cool.
The thing about that practice is probably harder. That practice is very physical, even for a Georgia practice. And that's a lot of energy that Coach Smart is creating organically, right? So he always feel like it's his job to create energy also. But this is a coach that's understanding that he's creating a sense of urgency at practice, saying we've been off for 3 weeks. This team has played last week. They was able to get a preseason game in playing Tulane. Right, they was able to get a scrimmage game in. So this is Coach Smart. Honestly, that practice right there that I'm saying right there, that was a little bit more. He's trying to push them buttons a little bit. He's trying to push those buttons a little bit. That practice was very physical. Guys fall on the ground, and when you ask the question of, if we go back a couple weeks of SEC championship, should we play in it? What if guys get hurt? Well, you can see right now, because we usually don't get camera inside of practices. You can see right now that Coach Smart's not worried about players getting hurt in a game, because you can see how we practice. So in the future, if there's ever a question about would Georgia want to play an SEC championship game or sit out because guys don't want to get hurt, you saw the practice, and I doubt that will happen. And that just transitioned us into right here. Ole Miss. It's hard to be the SEC team twice. Not saying that I am worried, but I just don't think this is a walk-in game. It's hard to be the SEC team twice. And they played last week, and you got 3-4 weeks off. You saw Coach Smart trying to yell and create that intensity, but it's hard to create game intensity, even though he does a great job at it. So I'm just afraid the dogs will start off slow, and I don't want to see that. But let's see. This is Ole Miss without Lane Kiffin, though. So let's see what Coach Smart had to say about that.
The offensive coordinator and the staff is still all there. So, I mean, they're not going to make overhaul or make large changes, right? They got something that really works well. They got a really high-powered, explosive, great wideouts, really good tight end, one of the best backs in the country, arguably the quarterback that may be playing the best in the country in terms of his ability to make throws in all areas. I mean, the guy's elite. He was elite last time we played him. He's just as elite or more elite now because he's got more experience and more confidence. So they're playing at a really high level offensively. And, Lane has something to do with that because he helped build it and get them there. But Charlie's done a tremendous job calling the plays and doing those things.
Let me just chime in. Okay, let me ask you this right here. Do you think Coach Smart is being politically correct, or is that how he truly feels?
He's definitely being politically correct. Like, this is like Kirby Smart 101. Like, leading up to the game, like, he's going to sing every praise. Like, go back and listen to what how complimentary he is of that TCU team before that national championship, and that'll give you an idea of, like, this is textbook out of the Coach Smart playbook. So, he's giving credit where credit's due. He's definitely not lying. Ole Miss is no joke. They gave us a handful last time, and they're going to play us tough again this year. This game, I feel like we're still going to come out with the win, but Coach Smart's never going to give anyone any type of bulletin board material, and that's on display right now.
No, that's the first thing I'm going to say. He's going to do a great job of not giving bulletin board material because that reporter is a very smart reporter. The way he questioned that, if Coach Smart would have said the other way, no, that would have been bulletin board material to the offensive coordinator of Ole Miss. They would have put that up in all the lockers, put it on the TVs. Coach Smart doesn't think it's the same offense without Lane Kiffin. So sometimes you got to, win the battle to win the war. And sometimes you win wars through humility, just to get people off their toes. And I think that's what he did right there. But I'm going to say this, though. I've been on a Coach Smart team where he was the head coach and Mel Tucker was the DC. And everybody in the world thought that it was Mel Tucker's defense. And every guy that has played with me on that 2016-17 team, that was Coach Smart's defense. Coach Mel Tucker was a great help. This is not to diminish anything Coach Mel Tucker did. He's one of my favorite coaches. And he was a defensive coordinator in the NFL for the Chicago Bears. So this is not taking anything away from him. But I think when head coaches, whatever side of the ball that their genius lies on, they're going to have a hand in the game plan. And they are the head coach. So the wins and losses go up under their resume. So they always are going to make sure they have their hand deep in the bag when it comes to the game plan. So I must say, that was a very politically correct answer, but I do remember being on that defense and Coach Mel Tucker being in the middle of a call in a game and Coach Smart would run up and change the call. And just judging off of, the first time these guys played, Herb Street made it a point after the touchdown that Shambliss threw to point the camera to the sideline where Lane Kiffin was telling him, no, throw here. So that lets me know that the offensive coordinator is in the box, but Lane Kiffin is in the mic and is in the ear. And I just think their relationship of always game planning against each other every day at Alabama, what, fans don't know is, during practice, you got team 1, team 2, team 3, and those are your starters, backups, and young guys. But the offensive coordinators and the defensive coordinators are game planning against each other. So during practice, during those scripts, that's what the offensive coordinator think will work, and that's what the defensive coordinator think will work. It's not just like this is what you want to see unless it's certain scout period. So those guys are used to each other for being at Alabama. I do think it will be different because right now Ole Miss is running into a wizard with Glenn Schumann and Coach Smart. And I think with taking Lane Kiffin away, who's also a wizard, is going to give Coach Weiss the biggest challenge of himself. This is not Tulane that you're playing. Georgia's going to get real freaky on third down. Like we talked about the second half in the Ole Miss of the team meeting, Georgia going to get real freaky on third down. Something that Tulane wasn't doing. We're going to really see what Weiss has to do. Do we have the spread on that game? Can we pull up the spread? UJ -6.5. I like it. I like Georgia. I think, in my opinion, Georgia probably starts off slow because of the time. And this is a young team that haven't been there before. This is a whole different monster. The regular season, postseason, different. This is a whole different monster. Young guys never played in the playoffs before, but have played in a lot of big games. You got -6.5. I think Georgia's physicality just wears him down. Lacey got hurt, bruised shoulder last week against Tulane, and now he got to come back and play Georgia. That's tough for him. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball like they did. It's going to put Ole Miss in a lot of third and long, so we can keep Shambliss in the pocket, which is a real dual threat quarterback. You see right here, Shambliss has been playing good. 19 tugs, 3 interceptions. He's taking care of the ball. Lacey bruised shoulder, as we just talked about. Not really worried about the guy, Ole Miss. I can't even pronounce his name. Not really worried about sacks against Georgia, because against Georgia, it's about can you stop the run. And as we see over to the right, Gunnar Stockton has been playing out of his mind, only 5 picks, 23 touchdowns. I think he will continue to be that guy. He's not a guy that, even when he started to get the Heisman talks, he never tried to play outside of himself to go win the Heisman. There was some games he had under 119 yards passing. He don't care about the Heisman, so he don't care about the stage. I don't think he's going to try to be something he's not. He's going to call it what the game to be. I like Georgia to cover that on the March of Death. What about you, Dennis?
I think you made a great point there, and I heard this somewhere. It was either 92.9 Game or one of these Georgia podcasts, but they were just talking about the quarterback matchup, and they're just making the point that like Chambliss is going to be asked to win this game, and like if they're going to beat us, Chambliss is going to play out of his mind. It's probably going to look something like 350 plus total yards from scrimmage and 2 to 3 touchdowns, and like no turnovers. Chambliss is going to be asked to win this game, and Gunner is going to be asked not to lose the game. Like you always like to say, he knows when to be Bruce Wayne and he knows when to go to the Batcave and put the cape on. If he needs to be Batman in the game, you already know he's going to make that happen. But we're going to be seeing a lot of Bruce Wayne today, or on Thursday.
No, you made some good points. You made some very good points. I heard Dan Orlowski say this on First Take. I hope I get it right the first time. Please get it right the first time. You want your quarterback. Okay, I didn't get it right the first time. Dan Orlowski said this: every quarterback needs a running game, but you want your quarterback not to need to depend on the running game to win. Meaning, you don't want a quarterback that you constantly have to stay ahead of the sticks in order for him to be comfortable in third downs because you don't think he can make all the throws. I think Gunner is perfect in that is because he's both, right? He knows how to play his part, hand off the ball, take what the defense give me, throw it away. I'm not playing for stats. But he also does not need the running game. We saw that versus Tennessee. Some of the throws he made that game. So I have a little bit more faith than Gunner than Chambliss. Another thing that people aren't talking about is, we made the joke when Beck was on the show about Kentucky Fried Chicken University, right? He's played in the SEC. He's bought in the SEC. But it's hard to go 6 months from playing at, Division I AA to now playing, the hottest team in college football in the playoffs. Will he be nervous? We kind of saw him a little nervous the back end of that Georgia game, some of those third downs, back against the wall, 98,000, roaring. You going on silent count. Dogs got the mug front. You don't know who dropping. You don't know who rushing. You don't know if we in cover 1 or cover 0. And we saw him kind of make erratic throws the back end of that first game. So let me ask you this right here. Here we go right here. What do you think Georgia needs to do to win this game, Dennis?
We can't let them get out to as hot of a start as they got out to last time. I'll tell you what, I was telling you this a little bit earlier in the season. I think around like Mississippi State game, once we started to really like flip the switch and look good, because I feel like early season Georgia this year was still kind of like, here we go again, like defense can't get stops, always playing from behind, like, never really getting to dominate games, like showing we can come back in games. But, everyone was getting a jump on us. Like, Tennessee comes to mind, Ole Miss. And we were just having to get into like these slugfests. So I feel like, especially like games like the SEC championship, it is so much more fun to be a Georgia fan when like the offense comes out. Yeah, sure, we went on an SEC championship and it was a quick 3 and out, but then they went on offense, the defense came out and shut them down. So like it feels so good when off rip that it's going to be one of those days where the other team's going to have a hard time to put points up and really just even move the ball. While I think Ole Miss is a good team, I feel like Georgia's been there and done that. A lot of guys on this team have played in multiple SEC championships. We played multiple off-campus games already this season. Like we got neutral site games in multiple NFL stadiums. So we played at Jacksonville Stadium against Florida. We played in the Dome 2 weeks in a row against Georgia Tech and Alabama. So I just feel like we got more big game experience. And Gunnar Stockton hasn't played his best 2 games, the last 2 games, but I mean, like we said, when it's time to put the back cape on, he's going to put it on. And I think the key there is just get ahead early and drag them out to the deep waters. But I want to bring one point up. I think I saw something about Gabe Harris dealing with like a turf toe injury, and I feel like he's been one guy in the team meeting that you pointed out a lot. I'll pull up some Gabe Harris highlights, but I feel like he's really come along this season, and I mean, I think that one's going to hurt. I don't think it's a a determining factor, but I feel like it's certainly gonna have an impact. What do you think about that?
That is definitely a determining factor. Turf toe is what caused Brock Purdy to be out for so long. Turf toe is what caused Joe Burrow to be out for a long time. Turf toe is the reason why Deion Sanders has 4 toes now. I don't know why that made me laugh, but turf toe is a very tough injury that the athlete can't judge. It's not like a hamstring. It's not sore, then it's not sore, then you get better. The turf toe, it feels good one day. You took your time off, and you go back there and try to run around at game speed, and it's a problem. Has all the tools to be a day 2 guy. Depends on how you run. Reminds me of Nate Patrick. Reminds me of myself, the way he's built, ball player. The last 3 games, he had more pressures and sacks than he did the first 6 games. So that just attests to you how he's coming on, and this will be a loss. This may be I really didn't watch him last year. He didn't really get a lot of burn last year. You got McHale and Jalen Walker out there. You see Heathen burn minutes against UMass. But, man, that turf toe, man, the best thing about what Georgia right now, what's the guy's name? Quentin Johnson, 33? Quentin Johnson's a baller. He's coming along. 10, the young guy. He's coming along, but Gabe Harris has been a baller for these last 3-4 games. You can tell the game is slowing down for him. It was a blessing we went and won the SC championship, which we're going to give him some time off to hopefully heal that. But those turf toes, you just never know. But he would definitely be a piece that would be missed if he does not play in this game. We're talking about a guy who can play all the spots on the defensive line. Don't take this and run with it, right? I'm not saying athletically, but he reminds me of Javion Clowney a little bit. Not in South Carolina. When I played with Javion Clowney in Houston. So Javion Clowney, he always gets the knock of when he got to the NFL of not being a high sack guy like everyone thought he was going to be. But my time with how Romeo Crennel used him, they lined him up everywhere. They lined him up on the edge, the A-gap, middle linebacker, defensive tackle. And this is the year, I was on the Houston Texans when J.J. Watt had 17.5 sacks. But what Javion Clowney would do, even when he's lined up in the A-gap or he's lined up at middle linebacker and Romeo Crennel used to just blitz him, he's just blow shit up. And when he blew it up, it'll fall right to J.J. Watt's hand or it'll fall right to Whitney Merciless' hand. And with Javion Clowney playing on the opposite side of J.J. Watt was more the technician. Clowney was more of the barbaric, I'm just going to run and blow it up. And Clowney just go blow stuff up in the backfield where he'll knock his man into the running back, and the running back will fall into the quarterback and run over there. It'll fall right into J.J. Watt's hand. That's what I think Gabe Harris is for this team. They line him up everywhere. He plays with his hair on fire, which is what I really respect. And he just balls to the wall. So if he is not 100% or able to go with the turf toe, which is very, you just don't know how it go. That would be a tough loss for the Dogs, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. That'd be a tough loss for the Dogs. But as we look into this game, though, I guess I didn't even prepare any keys to victories. I just think my keys to victories will be start fast. That'd be the first thing. You don't want to start slow simply because you had almost a month off. As you can tell from the practices that we showed, Coach Smart is creating that chaotic environment to make sure the guys have a sense of urgency. Because casualness causes casualties. And when you're casual, it causes casualties. So at practice, Coach Smart's making sure those guys are balls to the wall. So hopefully they don't come out slow, but there's nothing like game reps. And that's what Ole Miss got last week, especially with playing these Cinderella teams that y'all want to keep playing, or G5, whatever y'all call them. I call them Kentucky Fried Chicken. Like, you play that was a preseason game. So those guys kind of got a good dress rehearsal. So the first thing is to start fast. Georgia must start fast. I think the defense will, because on the offensive side of the ball, you got to look at things like this. There's a reason why when the season first starts, the defense usually plays better and the offense catches up. Not this year at Georgia, right? But this is an outlier. Usually on the most teams I've been on, the defense starts off fast and the offense has to catch up in the first beginning of the season, because offense is like a choir. It's like an orchestra. Everybody got to know they timing. Quarterbacks got to have timing. My O-line got to have timing. So they've had 4 weeks off without game reps. That may be slow, but defense is a barbaric position. You just play with your hair on fire and know your assignment and line up. So I think the defense start off fast and the offense may start off a little slow, but I think eventually our physicality up front with 6'8" across the board, like those guys we talk about all day on the team meeting, would eventually lay on them. So get the running game going, be physical. And on defense, let's make Shambliss beat us from the pocket. When I say that, I mean, I don't really care about sacks this game. We didn't get a lot of sacks on him last game. Like you always hear me say on the team meeting, I want him to throw from a well. I don't want him to be able to follow through like he trained in the offseason. I want a lot of pressure in his face, keep him in the pocket, make him play for the pocket. And if he can beat it from the pocket, then son, guess what? I take my hats off to you. But I don't think you can do it. No one has been able to do it yet. Dennis, how you feeling? What do you think we have to do if you was giving me your first two things to win this game?
Starting out fast on both sides of the ball, get some points, no turnovers, and limit the explosive plays. I feel like if Ole Miss is going to beat us, they're not going to be driving down long methodical on us all game and burning up a whole bunch of clock. They're either going to be getting explosive chunk yardage and getting in the box and getting points, or they're going to have a hard afternoon or a hard night out there in New Orleans. So just fast start, limit the explosives, take care of the ball. We should get out with the dub.
No, I think so, man. I think Georgia covers. I had one more thing I wanted to talk about, and I call this "Who needs to go off" or "Who needs to be Batman." What does Batman mean? I know, like, people always want to, why you always, I hear these comments all the time. Sometimes when the police don't do their job and the government don't do their job, Batman say, "I take care of it." And I always say, do your job and trust your teammate to do theirs. But when your teammate don't do their job, sometimes I got to go Batman and say, I take care of it. So who is going to be Batman this week? Who is going to be Batman this week? When you start talking about playoff football, it's only one man. Gunnar Stockton. Gunnar Stockton has to be that guy. He's going to have to be that guy. So Gunnar Stockton's my guy to look to. Do we have game picks for this week coming up? Let's see, what do we got coming up? Let's get some game picks in to get these people some game picks before we get up out here on Off the Clock. We got Indiana. They gave Indiana 7 points. I think Alabama covers. I think it's going to be a close game. I just think Alabama covers. I can't really give you a winner. Alabama covers the 7 for sure. Both teams are physical. I like Indiana. I think I'm going to butcher his name again. I apologize because I really love this guy. Curtis McGetty. I think he's a great coach. He's the closest thing to Saban and Smart we got. So I'm not betting against that man. And they're a very physical team. I saw what they did against Ohio State. But I think Bama covers. Indiana defense really good, man. Bake was talking about them defense. They got some boys that play DB that's down there from where Bake from down there in Florida. Curtis McGetty know where to get them. The defense is playing well. I think this is the best defense Alabama has played since Georgia. We see how slow they started last week. But I do think they're able to cover that 7. I think it'll be a close game. I think Indiana wins by 3. Georgia already told you, I think Georgia covers the 7. I think it's a close game in the first quarter, first half. Lane Kiffin is not there to match Kirby Smart adjustment for adjustment. If I could match Nick Saban for adjustments, I have a ring. Do not take coaches for granted. So I do think that second half Georgia will pull away and out physical them. Georgia covers the 7 through physicality. This is what I like right here. Ohio State 9.5. I do not believe that Ohio State is better. It's 10 points better than Miami. Quentin Silver is not that much better than Carson Beck. I think those guys will duel it out. Even though Jeremiah Smith is for Ohio State, we see what putting traffic around Jeremiah Smith will do, like Indiana did. They always had 2-3 people around him. Yes, he got his catches, but didn't really affect the game. So I think Miami has better athletes than Indiana, even though Indiana has a better defense. I mean, they're better coach. I like Miami to cover that 9.5 for sure, but I'm taking Miami. I'm taking Miami versus Ohio State. I didn't like what I saw against Indiana. And then right here, the last one, we got Texas Tech and Oregon. Let's zoom into that top. Texas Tech has not played anybody. Dan Lanning is a Coach Smart offspring, Coach Smart tree. You know he will be. He's bringing the physicality to the game, something that Texas Tech has not seen. Oregon recruits different than Texas Tech. Dan Lanning recruits differently. It's not your same Oregon. They're very physical up front. Dante Moore is a pretty good damn quarterback who's a baller. I just like them better than Texas Tech. Texas Tech hasn't played anybody. I like Oregon to cover that 2.5, a field goal, aka one possession. And that's it right there, man. You know, Dogs play this weekend, and we're so excited, to bring the team meeting back.
Hey, let me pause right here.
Oh, my fault. Go ahead, Go ahead. Go.
I just want to show one thing real quick. We all know that this guy, and I feel like a lot of UGA fans complain a lot about like the lack of explosives. I feel like Bell always liked to say on the team meeting, we march of death, everyone. You know what I'm saying? Long and methodical screen game, get you going sideline, sideways, and then inside zone you to death. And honestly, that's a lot of fun to watch. But I feel like you tune into like Indiana, you tune into Alabama, you tune into some of these other teams, and they're like bombing it down the field. I feel like we were doing that earlier in the year when this guy right here was healthy and on the offense, and it's looking like he might make a comeback in the game.
You talking about maybe hit that shit, make it like a Kobe Young. That's who you talking about. Yeah, man, it's a bad boy. Him, Noah Brown, Zachariah Branch, Dylan Bell, Lucky, the Avatars, the running game, a lot of weapons. You're right, he looks good. Go back to that clip. You ain't got to rush. Go back to that clip. It's only a short clip. You can let it replay. Let's admire this stallion. It's like you at a farm right now. You sitting outside the ranch with your hands right here. You just watching that horse run around. We can watch it back a couple times. Thoroughbred right there, 6'4", 225, NFL receiver. Gonna start. Got a lot of weapons. Got more weapons in the Cold War.
It's hard for me to judge from this clip, like if he's healthy or not. But I mean, he's shifting direction. I feel like he was looking like our like dominant X receiver.
Hold on, he got a red jersey on him and he live. If he didn't have a red jersey on, he have a black jersey on. So,
okay.
So he got a red jersey on. So that means he is up to play. If he was not ready to play, he have a black jersey on. He wouldn't even be out there. He out there doing.
Yeah, I feel like, and to your point earlier about Coach Smart and being like politically correct, I feel like he was playing this one really close to the chest. I know there was like some like rumblings and there was whispers that he might be ready to come back for the playoffs. But hey, man, Georgia offense it was a completely different look. I mean, I feel like we gained some momentum as the year went on, but when he was healthy, we were at full strength. Like you said, him, Zachariah Branch, the Avatars, even cats like London Humphreys, man, showed in the Tennessee game. He got hands. I feel like we got weapons all over the field, but this guy, I feel like might be the X factor. I feel like he really opens it up. It's exciting to see that he might be back and healthy for the playoffs. But like you said, I mean, got the red jersey on, so it's looking good. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, it's looking good, man. Yeah, man. Look, everybody. Appreciate you guys for joining us. The Georgia Ole Miss preview, Sugar Bowl edition. This game is very personal to the Dogs after last year and everything that went on down there last year. So I do think the Dogs are going to make sure to take care of business this week. Off the clock, thank you for joining us, everyone. My man Dennis, like I said, he's usually behind the camera. He's in front of the camera today. Great insight, great football knowledge. And we'll see you guys right after the game for the team meeting.